I got to click back to this just so you know what you're starting with. Percent word problems. So we look at this. We can do this as a box diagram.
Is it fun if I sit up here?
I suppose you're going to stay awake.
Yeah, exactly.
Here is your percent column, and this is going to be the number. So who do we have present?
Wood nymphs
Wood nymphs and maids. So then we have a total here, right? So what do we know? Total is going to be 100% are going to be present. Is 70% of those were wood nymphs? 30% are maids. And then they tell you that you have 120 maids. So how many wood nymphs came to the banquet? Now, if you want to find how many total there are, that's fine, and then subtract to find that. But in the box diagram, it might save you that step. So how are you going to solve this? Cross multiply and divide. So you're going to take 120 times 70 and divide by 30. How many times does 30 go into 120? Four times. So you end up with 280.
I just wanted on record that on silence if it is wood nymphs.
Are we okay with that? So try this one. This is a good one for the season. Oh yeah. What is cornucopian? Do we know what Do you know what cornucopian is?
It's the horn.
The horn shape that's filled with
Pumpkins,
usually
horns, and
now this one is a little bit different. So I need all of your attention up here because it's going to change just a little bit. If I told you you had a paycheck that was $100, okay? If your paycheck of $100 is 120% greater at Christmas time, how much money are you getting? It's 120% greater. You would get $220. If you got $120, how much greater was your paycheck? It's just 20% greater. So when you go through this one, these are a little bit backwards because your largest percentage is not on the bottom. So what happens is that you have last year, that's your reference point. So last year has to be 100%. It's got to be a reference point. And then I like to look at it this way. As it was, the harvest was 120% greater than last year. So we are increasing that, correct, by 120%. That means that this year is what percent? 220%. So that 120% is not reference to last year or this year. It's that increased difference that you have between the two. So as you increase it 120%, you are now at 220%. If the yield was 140,800 bushels, how many bushels were harvested last year? So you really don't need that 120%. If you found something with 120%, because of this, right here, I could cross this out right here. And what you're going to do is you have 220 over 100 equals 140,800 over X. You're comparing this year to last year. The 120% is just the increase. So you cross multiply, which is going to be 100 times 140,800, and you're going to divide by 220. Okay. What did you say? 64,000. So there's going to be 64,000 bushels.
Tell me if I can do it.
So you're going to have 64,000 bushels. Do we agree?
See.
You can make the calculation tonight. Question on that one? You see when it says it's increased by that amount, or it's so much greater than it was last year, you have to draw your arrow, which means your larger percentage amount is going to be on top. Try this one.
Yeah.
%60 were what?
Neophytes.
Neophytes. So we're going to go to neophytes, that's 60%. So the total number of people is going to be 100%. What percent was not neophytes? 40%. So then you go to this part and it says 200 people were not neophytes. So 200 people go into not neophytes. How many people attended the performance? Attended the performance is what? Total. Some of you did the 60. That's okay. If you did the 60, you ended up with 300, then you add. If not, you could eliminate that, and you're going to have 40 over 100 is equal to 200 over x. Some of you are just going to go, you multiply by 5. They're equivalent fractions. Others are going to say it's going to be 200 times 100 divided by 40. 40 goes into, I don't know, 200. How many times? 5. And you end up with 500. What's Bryce doing? Huh? Try this one. Okay, so as you look at it, production last year is your reference point, so that's going to be 100%. What happens is it increased 145%. So if it increased 145%, what percent is it this year? 245%. And the number of widgets produced this year was 171,500. How many were produced last year? So what do you multiply together? 171,500 times 100 and divide by 245. And your calculation shows how many widgets are there? 70,000 widgets last year. $75 widgets last year. We need to try another one? I don't know, I think so. It's Friday. I'm going to do this. 45% greater. So you have an increase of 45%. So last year is 100%. So where's your percentage at this year? 145. If the yield was 140,795 bushels, how many were harvested last year? So calculate 100 times 140,795 and divide by 145. Calculate that. What do you end up with? Yeah, that number. Yeah, that looks like a good number, right? Yeah. It's got to be less, right?
Yep.
You think about half of it. What's about half of this? How much is half of this?
70,000,
70,000
approximately.
approximately. I can't do that. I can't do 70% of that. I can't do half of it, I mean. I can't do half of it. I was gonna say do half of it, but when you go the opposite direction, that's not gonna work, so. All right. Feel confident with that? Next week, one day you're probably gonna be graphing lines, another day you're gonna be working on lesson set 9, problem set 9. Okay?